Hello,
I'm Stacey,
and I'm Ryan.
and we're just excited to take a couple minutes and share our heart with you today on what showing grace might look like in a marriage where there is chronic illness. So, just a really brief sort of introduction to us and my medical history. Because in our marriage, I am patient and Ryan is gracious caretaker. So I am medically complex. I have CVID, common variable immunodeficiency disorder, which means that my body doesn't create enough antibodies. And once a month, I go get donor antibodies at the cancer center. So, quick plug for plasma donations. If you want to loan me your donor antibodies, I will love you forever and ever. Several other conditions: vasculitis, RA, Lyme disease and co-infections, interstitial cystitis, probably at least 10 that I can't remember right now. And my body likes to manufacture them while I'm sleeping and keep me on my toes. So it's been an adventurous 7 years for us that we've been married, and we've been learning not only each other and marriage, but marriage within the context of chronic illness. And so really my body crashed and burned really right in the beginning of our marriage. And so one thing we've really learned is the importance of grace within marriage, especially when chronic illness is present. And one thing that I've learned, and I know this is true in any marriage, is how really small things become really large things. And that can be positive or negative. So for instance, when you're chronically ill, you lose a lot of control and autonomy over your own life. So Ryan does a lot of caretaking, which means he goes to the grocery store for us. So I will list out what I want, but I'm really kind of like a more spur of the moment, intuitive person. What sounds good to me that week, what looks good when I'm in the store. So sometimes it's hard for me to describe to Ryan what I want, but I love food and I like having things to look forward to, because some days are really hard for me, they're long, and when he comes home with the wrong food thing for me, he didn't pick the right soup or the right this or the right that, the right snack, and I was really looking forward to it. It becomes a much bigger deal to me. That small thing becomes really large. Why didn't you get this thing that I wanted? I was really looking forward to it. I opened the cabinet and it wasn't there. Or I like to keep my things really close to me in the bed so that I have easy access to them and I don't have to get up and walk to them. And sometimes in the morning I wake up and I find they're scattered around the room far away from me, and that very small thing becomes very large. Why did you sabotage me in this way? Why did you take my things and move them away from me? And really that's about control. It's not about him. It's about autonomy and loss of control over my own life. And so extending grace looks like recognizing that this is really my issue, not his issue, and that he's caring for me in the best way that he can. On the flip side, there's a huge positive to that, in that those small things become really large things. So on the days that I'm too sick to get out of my bed, I'm too sick to make it to the kitchen to get myself something to eat, and Ryan has worked all day, he's cared for our children, and he comes in and I say, I'm starving. I'm going to start eating blankets and drywall. I need food right now. You have to feed me. And I can tell he's exhausted, and the last thing he wants to do is drive to whatever X location I've said is the meaning of life right now. But he does it anyway, and he brings me food. It is so incredibly meaningful for me. That small, seemingly small act takes on enormous meaning. Or after he's given our daughter a bath, I say, I actually need you to give me a bath. I need you to wash my hair. And I know that the last thing he wants to do is load another person through the bathtub, but he does it. It takes on tremendous meaning for me. So grace looks like weighing that out. Okay, so you bought the wrong Gatorade, but you also demonstrated these lavish acts of love. when I know it had tremendous cost for you. So
Yeah, and the mirror side of that for me is that there's a certain level of unmet expectations, in my mind as well, from someone who is, you know, providing and who is um, expressing love in this way. And as Stacey mentioned, from the aspect of household duties, kid duties, those types of things. And there's, you know, a desire to have a level of relationship and intimacy. And with someone who's chronically ill, a lot of the time, that is difficult. There are very small windows, and there could be days, weeks, even months that go by without any significant, you know, um, expectations being met at that level, and that's been very difficult, for me to, um, especially over time, especially in the beginning, it was very difficult for me to process through that. But um, more so, I just reminded myself and recognized that, again, like she said, she doesn't have control per se over how her body's going to feel, how she's going to even be able to provide or give that type of support. And so, I've had to extend grace in that manner. Additionally, as she mentioned, there are times when I have gone to the limit in terms of physically, and I'm sitting here even right now in our bed, and at night I may possibly snore just a tiny bit, just a little bit, and what precious hours I have to sleep sometimes, she's unable to sleep because of this tiny snoring issue I have. But even though she's stated she wants to do, terrible things to me at night, she's told me so many times that she just allows me to sleep. She knows I need to for my own benefit, for all that I've done, and I appreciate that so much. Even that, again, small thing means a lot, because then I can do what I need to the next day. So it goes both ways.
yeah, so I don't kill him. I don't suffocate him in the
Mm-hmm.
night because I love him and he's served us so beautifully during the day. And so that might have an impact on me physically because I didn't sleep at night. And those the little exchanges and grace that goes either way. And I think the final note I would want to just put out is grace to yourself, because you're going to feel like you're failing.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not going to be enough resource, and inevitably you're going to feel like I'm failing. I'm failing my husband. I'm failing my kids. I'm failing everyone. And just grace to yourself that ultimately we do all of it unto Christ. And as long as we are giving our all, and then we have to extend grace to ourselves that we've done the best that we can do, and that Christ will either enable us or send us help. And I would say that's absolutely been our experience.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we're just cheering you on, and we know that you're doing an amazing job extending grace, learning to love one another better, and we're just praying that Christ continues to equip and enable you.